Ready? I'm going to play a game that I want to conclude this presentation with. Ready? It's called True or False, Fact or Fiction. Ready? And I am going to pretend that I am the all-knowing 16-year-old. I know everything about the world. I'm a genius. I know everything. And then I would like you to just let me know if I'm telling you something that is a fact or something that is fiction. Ready? Ready?
Ready.
I'm 17, not 70, and I do not want to think about college until I'm in the 12th grade.
Okay, so I would say a couple kids a year aren't at the maturity level to handle it as sophomores and juniors, and then they miss deadlines, and then they miss out on opportunities at schools where they have a better chance to get into, and it's a shame because it's a front-loaded process. I wish we could make it end of senior year you apply. It's just not the reality of what's out there. So coming to this program in the sophomore year, junior year, you're getting ahead of the curve. But juniors, we're getting in the throes of this admission process now so that you're ready to start a senior year to get working on this. So yeah, it's not a senior year phenomenon, it's like sophomore year, junior year, and the start of senior year is when it ends.
I don't want to take SAT 2 classes, and I'll add the typical phrase. Crazy Kweller, I'm not doing this right now. I do not want to take SAT 2 subject tests on top of APs. Why are you giving me more things to do?
So right, SAT 2s, it used to be called SAT subject tests, you heard me call it. Either way, it's interchangeable. SAT subject tests for schools that recommend them. There are very few schools that require them now. Most of them recommend. But recommend is almost like a wink wink. Send them in if you did really well, it's going to help you and you should do it. Subject tests will carry a little bit more weight than the APs. So it's out of 800, scoring the 700s, especially MIT, if you send a 730 math, it's not going to impress them. But 790 math might carry more weight. So subject tests are important if you're in the right tracking and you've done well in those courses to showcase that you can do well on a standardized test.
You think you're smart? I'm smarter. Ready? I'm going to apply to 6 schools early decision. Wow.
So your school counselor can only send out one transcript to an early decision school. They can't send out your transcript to multiple ED schools. So it won't happen.
I have a plan. My mom and dad, they work. I'm going to literally, I have a genius idea. Are you ready for this? I'm going to pay someone to write my application. I'm going to use my allowance money. I'm not doing this.
It's a shame because who's writing all your essays in college? So, you know, there are people who might unfortunately pay people to do things for them, and you might do that in an English class 11th grade, 12th grade, but if you don't have values, then what's all this for? So I would say it's very important that the student takes ownership over this process.
Ready? My plan is to send fake scores to colleges. MIT wants an 800 math. I got an 800 math, 6, 8, whatever. I'll self-report. I like this little self-reporting feature. It's awesome.
So what is Francis talking about? There's an idea that you can self-report scores on your application, and some colleges will trust those scores. What happens is once admitted, they'll then want you to send the official scores directly from the testing agency. So if you lie in your application and were admitted, and then you send official scores and there's just disparity, you just lost your seat. So you really can't lie.
Okay, here's my plan. I know that I need to be a straight A student, so here's the plan. I'm going to take pre-algebra, then I'm going to take pre-algebra, then I'm going to get 100, then I'm going to take algebra for beginners, then I'm going to take algebra level 1 Regents Common Core. Calculus, schmalculus. I'm not getting a D in calculus. I'm going to get an A+ in algebra, A+, MIT, yes.
So this is what I was talking about, the curricular rigor idea. The idea that there are certain types of progression of classes they're looking for. So if you're starting off in geometry, algebra 2, pre-calc, AP calc, that's better than pre-algebra, algebra for beginners, geometry. So they're looking for a type of transcript that resonates with selective admission and the schools and the courses they're looking for.
Who could write a better recommendation letter than my boogie? My grandmother can write a letter about her beloved grandchild like no one else can. I am going to get grandma to write me a letter.
It's so funny they say that. So I had a student last year who was going to Dartmouth, but was in the Penn Wharton wait list. Okay, Crimea River, had to go to Dartmouth. And his sister says to me, can I write his recommendation letter to get off the wait list? I'm like, wait, this is a joke. I actually thought she was joking. She's like, no, I know him better than anyone. He's so wonderful. I'm like, stop. They're going to laugh at you and throw out his application.
My plan is to be really nice to all my teachers, get amazing recommendation letters, and then I'm gonna let them know what I really think of them. So I'm just gonna sit quietly, get my letters. Right after I get my acceptance offer, I'm gonna let them know the truth.
Right, so you still get grades for first semester that go to colleges, you still get end of the year grades that go to colleges. Any acceptance that you get, the acceptance letter will say this is contingent upon continued academic excellence. So in other words, whatever grades you got to get into that school, they're expecting you to maintain those grades. If there's a slight dip, let's say you had a bunch of A's and all of a sudden you have like 3 A minuses, you're not going to lose your seat. But if you went from being an A student to a C student, you'll probably lose your seat or be put on probation for the freshman year and must reach a 3.5 GPA to keep your seat. So don't be harsh to your teachers, and karma is a thing.
This tutoring center director, she sells test prep. She wants me to take the SAT plus writing, ACT plus writing. What's with this plus? And it's also optional. Why? Why must I do optional?
It's interesting. So writing used to be something that schools definitely looked at. Now it's less and less a thing. I would say if you're a very strong writer and can get a 12 in the writing, that doesn't hurt, it can only help. But I think you should stress more the other sections. So writing is something that if you're naturally good at it, go for it. If you're really a weak writer, spend hours doing evidence-based reading and writing and math, or spend hours doing English, math, reading, and science. Don't kill yourself for the writing section as much.
I'm 17, I have things to do. When it says optional on the college application, I'm not doing it. I have a lot of things to do outside of this application.
There are some schools that have optional essays. My students say, why should I do it? It's optional. And my answer is, they're expecting someone to do it. Why not you? Right? If it's optional, they're expected to read maybe 50% of the applicants will have done it, 75%. So it's not going to hurt you that you didn't do it, but it can only help if you do a nice job with that.
I'm paying full price for college, Mom. That's tough for you. Okay, my plan is to pay full price. I'm getting into every school I apply to.
I plan to be the student or parent?
I'm the student, but I'm going to speak on behalf
so
of my
interesting.
parents.
Okay,
And
so
I'd like to let you know that my mom and dad will be paying for my college education, so I'm just going to be applying everywhere.
So first of all, the application process can be expensive. The more schools you apply to, multiply $75 on average application fee times whatever. I was thinking that the early part of the question, I had a student say to me, I don't understand, what's the big deal taking out $100,000 in loans? If I make $50,000 a year, I pay it back in 2 years. I'm like, oh honey, let's have a seat. And I explained to them what taxes mean and transportation and living expenses. It's very hard for kids to fathom how loans are big. I think it's important for parents to convey to them, we don't want to be in serious debt here. If you have younger siblings, we have a mortgage to pay, we have food to pay for, New York City expenses. So you have to have that serious conversation.
Colleges want to see APs, so I have a great idea. I'm going to look for these BSMD programs, BAMDs. They want to see a lot of APs. Instead of taking chem, physics, I'm going to take AP garbage. Just whatever, it's an AP, who cares? But it's going to get me those 4 APs for medical school, right?
So here's what's interesting. There are levels within the AP sphere. So for example, AP Chem, AP Physics, AP European History, AP Calculus are construed as stronger APs than AP Psychology, AP Studio Art, unless you're going to art school, AP US Government. Nothing wrong with those classes, they're just not considered as rigorous. If you're applying to a combined medical program, they're looking for the most competitive science curriculum. So that's APs in biochem physics and doing really well to get into a very highly selective 8-year program, basically.
I'm going to lie about my race. That's it, we're done.
So it's interesting because sometimes people think I can just list a race and that's my hook. I think schools are also looking for how you identify with that race. Maybe through an essay, how that culture is something that's impacting you. Or maybe through an extracurricular that you did in high school connected to that race. So if I have a student who is connected to a certain race, I'd say, are you joining that club related to your race to show that it's something that's part of your identity and not just a checkbox?
650 words. I'm going to write 1,650 words.
Oh, so
Harvard.
The college essay will be maximum of 650 words. If you do 651, it cuts you off. So you physically can't.
The very last question. My plan is to visit the admissions office every single day, every day, and they're going to hear my voice and I'm going to knock on their door and I'm just going to keep visiting and calling and emailing and texting, sending presents.
Right. So I mentioned networking before, and networking is very different from stalking. I had a student, this is so sad, 3 years ago, who was desperate for Macaulay Honors in CUNY. She was nowhere near competitive. So she thought if she went to every single session in the city and met the same person and constantly called and emailed, he'd like her. And he said to me, can you please get her off my back? they don't want to be stalked. They have thousands of people to deal with. If you send them a polite email with a really decent question after a visit to your school, of course that's wonderful. But it shouldn't be that you feel like you're supposed to email them every day with a question. Parents, also, this is important. When it comes to the networking factor, let the student do the email. Parents should ask the financial aid questions, but the admission networking should come from the student.
I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Michael Courtney, who traveled almost an hour after a long day of work to make it to Kweller Prep to give this presentation.